This is a story about John. John lives in Singapore and has always been successful. At least, that's what his friends called him. Ever since he was 7 years old, he studied hard, got good grades, and was always near the top of his class. He noticed that when he had bad grades, his parents would beat him. And when he got good grades, his parents would smile. So he always got good grades and things were okay. When John was 18, he got a scholarship to study at a local university. It was one of the best in the world, and he was proud of it. His parents were happy and everything was okay. People always said that John was headed for great things, that he made his parents proud. And John believed them. John was proud of himself. He wanted to keep getting good grades. John went to university. Things were different though. He wasn't always the top of his class, and he wasn't used to how class was done there. You couldn't just memorize things and get a good grade, which was what John was good at. But John was a hard worker, and he told himself that as long as he spent more time on it than others, things would be okay. John never had many friends while in university. Some of his friends went out for parties after class, but he didn't join them because he wanted to get things done. He was usually by himself in the library or studying in a quiet corner of school. It's okay, he would tell himself. If I sacrifice now, I'll have a good career in the future. School was a blur. Time passes really quickly when you are always busy. John tried his best, but even though he made his sacrifices, he wasn't the top of his class. He was an above average student and graduated above average. For a while, John was confused. His sacrifice wasn't getting him any rewards. It always worked for him in the past. He always had results when he made sacrifices. Maybe he wasn't sacrificing enough. When John felt discouraged when studying, he would always look at the news and read about successful people to keep himself motivated. The news was always talking about the same few successful people. John loved their stories and wanted to be like them. To him, they sacrificed a lot to be who they are and lived great lives. Yes, if he becomes like them, then everything will be okay. So John decided that even though he was only an above average student and couldn't get a big job at a big company, he could be an entrepreneur. That's what all the successful people were, and he wanted to be like them. Some of them weren't very good students anyway, so maybe he had it in him. At least, that's what the stories are saying. He got a job at a startup to see what it was like. John felt he was smarter than most people and worked hard. John did what he always did in school and came to work and worked quietly. He worked really hard, always being the first to come in and the last to leave the office. He never really talked to his colleagues, and he ate lunch by himself so that he could get more work done. John managed to do a lot of reports and proposals, and he spent extra time reading about the industry. He was going to be the best in the office. John always went home late, so he never went out with friends. But it was okay, because this was all sacrifice. Life rewards sacrifices. He he was still reading articles about famous people who worked 100 hours a week. Yes, he was going to be like them. But it was strange. No one in office supported his proposals. Every time he proposed something, he would get told why it would not work. He noticed people in the office talking about him behind his back. No matter how hard John tried, it seemed like there were still a lot of people smarter than him. He wasn't the best in the office. He started making mistakes, and every new mistake made him nervous. John never made many mistakes before, so he worked harder. He slept in the office a few times. Things didn't seem to get better though. John started to get more nervous. This made him awkward to talk to. John said the wrong things, and it made people angry. It was weird because he couldn't seem to think properly. He started to make mistakes on even simple things. "Aren't you a graduate?" his angry colleagues would ask him. That made John more nervous. Going to work made him nervous now. John wondered what was going wrong. It didn't seem like his colleagues were working as hard, but they seemed to know what to do. No one wanted to talk to him about it, and his parents didn't understand. He felt really alone. "I guess I need to work harder." And that's what John did. Things would be okay. Or would they?